Hello friends, let us start our class. Today also we are going to deal with the logical reasoning, okay, and we are discussing some of the subtopics of logical reasoning. It is formal and informal fallacies and types of fallacies. We will discuss these two subtopics in today's class. So be attentive to the class, then only you are able to understand it, okay. First, we are discussing the fallacies. What is meant by fallacies? Fallacies is the defect in reasoning. When we think about a matter, okay, when we think about the reason behind it, or why it is happening, or how it is happening, when we think about it, a critical thinking, okay, if there is any defect in it, what we call it as? We call it as fallacy. Okay, if any defect in the reasoning come, we call it as fallacy. There are two types of fallacies is there. One is intentional. That is tricky way to please and get away. Intentional means one purposefully doing the fallacy to get his own way to get please the things or to make the things very easy for him. Okay, that is intentional. Next is unintentional. It is without any reason, unknowingly doing a thing. That is what we call unintentional. Okay, so fallacies, it is of two types. One is intentional. Intentional means purposefully doing it. And unintentional is that is not purposeful. It is without knowing, unknowingly he is doing a fallacy. That is what we call unintentional fallacy. And for fallacy is of two types, that is formal fallacy as well as informal fallacy. Formal fallacy it means there is mistake in the form, the structure, form and all. If there is mistake in it, that is what we call as formal fallacy. Fallacy means mistake, okay, or defect. An informal fallacy, if there is content mistake, if the content of the sentence or the content of the meaning of something if there is any mistake in it, we call it as informal fallacy. So I think now you are clear about the fallacy. Fallacy is the defect in reasoning. Intentionally means purposefully you are doing it. Unintentionally without any purpose. It's unknowingly you are doing. And formal fallacy is the form. It is the structure of the thing or the form of the thing. If it is become wrong, then comes some kind of fallacy. That is what we call formal fallacy. And informal fallacy is a mistake in the content that we call as informal fallacy. So I think you are clear about it. Next, we are dealing with the formal fallacy in a detailed way. Okay, formal fallacy we are going to deal it with in a detailed way because they will ask question from this side. Formal fallacy. Form of the argument is wrong. That is, the argument should have some kind of structure is needed. If there is any defect in it, okay, if the form of the argument is defect, we call it as formal fallacy. And we can see the usage of if, okay, if and these two words we can see in the formal fallacy. If and are used in it and make a wrong assumption by giving a wrong assumption to a thing that we call formal fallacy. I have given here an example, then it is easy for you to understand. See, P1, that is P1 means premise 1. Argument have two premises and one conclusion. So premise 1, if someone is allergic to sunlight, he won't go outside in sunlight. Okay, if you have an allergy for sunlight, what will you do? You will sit inside the home. Okay, that is what we have said in the premise 1. And the premise to say that Neha does not go outside. Neha is in a nature of not going outside the house. Okay, then conclusion is that Neha is allergic to sunlight. So they come an assumption or they think that Neha is not going out of the house. Might be the reason is that she might be allergic to the sunlight. Okay, so first the premise is that the allergy to sunlight, what the people are doing, they are sitting inside the home. And Neha is sitting inside the home. It means that Neha is allergic to sunlight. There is a fallacy there. What is the fallacy? Wrong conclusion may be there. Why? Neha may be inside house, maybe of some other reason also. Okay, might be some other reasons is behind it. So it is not clear that whether Neha is sitting inside the home because of the allergic towards the sun. Might be the reason or might not be the reason. So there can be another reason also behind it. So such kind of fallacy is what we call as formal fallacy. Understood? Formal fallacy is that what the conclusion comes out that can be a reason or cannot be a reason. Okay, so the form has it come out with a wrong assumption. So I think now you are clear about it. Next is informal fallacy. What is informal fallacy? Mistake in the content. That is, the meaning is changing. That is ambiguity. Ambiguity, one word have different meaning. That is, that brings some kind of confusion in the people. That is what we call as ambiguity. So informal fallacy is such a kind of fallacy. The content is getting in a different way. We can see that P1 is minus 1. Feather is light. Light means, here the light, I used the light word meaning weightless. The feather is weightless. The feather of the bird, it is very weightless. There is no weight for it. And P2, what is light color cannot be dark. Here light, L-I-G-H-T, light here means less dark. Okay, not weight. Okay, so the meaning of the light in two sentences is different. First one, it means that weightless. And second, it means less dark. Okay, so conclusion, therefore, a feather cannot be dark. So it is a wrong assumption. It is a wrong conclusion. It is very clear. Feather cannot be dark. It is a very wrong thing. So conclusion is very wrong. So informal fallacy is the fallacy. It is because of the content, that is meaning difference, that make the fallacy. So formal fallacy, it is with the structure of it and the assumption is wrong. And informal fallacy, the meaning or the content is different. So come the informal fallacy. Next, we are going to deal with different types of fallacies. There is a lot of types of fallacies are there. Questions will ask from this side. Surely they have asked questions from ad hominem fallacy. They have asked with the question, and they have asked questions from the slip-slop type of fallacy. They have asked like this a lot of times. They have asked questions from the types of fallacies. So you should study it properly. The easy trick is that you study the example. Okay, you study the name of the fallacy, then you study the example. Then it is easy for you to understand how it will come. Okay, so the first one, okay, ad hominem. Ad hominem, it is a Latin word. Okay, it means against the man. The ad hominem is against the man. It is a famous fallacy. It's a fallacy of relevance. Relevance means importance. Okay, reject or criticize another person's view. This is what doing in the this type of fallacies. You are criticizing another person. Attack by using language or personal character. You are in this fallacy, there is ad hominem fallacy. You are attacking another person using the language, means the bad words or the personal character. You are attacking the person's character. Background, physical appearance, it can be you are attacking that person's background, can be he is from the poor or he might be political background, like that some background might be there. So, or the physical appearance, you are attacking the physical appearance of the people, like that you are attacking a human being, then it come ad hominem. Okay, unrelated to truth, it is not truth, it is unrelated to the truth. For example, the face cream cannot be good because Kim is selling it. Face cream cannot be good. The reason is that Kim, Kim is a very cruel person of Korea. Okay, so Kim is selling it. Kim has a nature, we know that, what kind of person he is. So Kim is selling it, so that should be, we are clearly come to an assumption that, or conclusion that it is not good. Why? That because of the character of the Kim. So the Kim, we are attacking the personal character of the person, and this is what we called as ad hominem fallacy. Have you understood that? So you are due to the character of a person or the background of the person, you come to a conclusion that that is wrong. Okay, that is your conclusion, or that is not right. That is your an assumption or your conclusion about it. So ad hominem is you are attacking the person in person's character or its background. So ad hominem is a Latin word. Next is strawman fallacy. is attack the position. Straw man, you keep that in mind. Straw is starting with S, so it is attacking the status of a person. You are attacking the status, the position of a person is attacking here. Straw man fallacy. Attack the weak part of the opponent. You are attacking, when some fight is happening, what happens is that you attack the weakest portion of the other person. This is what is doing in the strawman fallacy. Okay, attack the position the opponent have. What position the opponent have? For example, A is rich. Okay, the person A is rich but not educated. He is rich but he is not educated. B is poor. B is poor but he is educated. So how the A can attack the B? The A can attack the B only on his poverty. Okay, that is his what we can call it as his the B's as the this area, that is his weakest area is the poor. He is poor, so attacking his poor area. So the position is the status is attacking here. The position of the B is attacking here. This is what we call as strawman fallacy. So I think you are clear about it. A is rich but B is poor. So the weakness of the B is the poor or poverty. So attacking his poverty can be seen here. That is A attack B on his poverty. That is what we call as strawman fallacy. That is attack position of a status. Next is appeal to ignorance. That is argumentum ad ignoration. What is appeal to ignorance? Means you are ignore about a matter, so you are accepting it. Okay, accept because no one can prove it due to ignorance about the matter. There is a lot of matters in the world is ignored to us. We cannot prove it. For such cases, what we can do, we can only just accept such matters as such. For example, ghost. We cannot prove whether there is ghost in there or not. So there is a confusion always existing about it. And flying saucers, you heard about that aliens are coming here, there, and like that a lot of researches are going on. So, but we cannot prove it as such. So we accept it as such. We cannot prove it. That is appeal to ignorance. Okay, people pray God for years. No one can prove that he exists or not, or so he exists or not. So he exists. That people all are praying to the God. Whether we are able to show this is God or like that, we cannot show it contractually. Okay. So what we call it as we cannot show it. So according to the ignorance, we cannot prove it. So such kind of fallacies, what we call it as appeal to ignorance, that is what we call as argumentum ad ignoration. Okay. Next is false dilemma or false dichotomy. That is a dilemma. Okay, black and white fallacy. It has another name called black and white fallacy or bifurcation fallacy. Both are same. Either or fallacy. That is also what we call as the false dilemma or either or fallacy. Why? Limit your options to, in fact, more options exist. That dilemma or false dichotomy, only two, you always take only two options. You don't go for other options. Okay. So you are limiting your options. That is what is happening here in the false dilemma. And that is why it became a what we call it as fallacy. For example, tourists chose to go Goa or Kashmir instead of choosing other options. We know that India is a beautiful country with a lot of places we have to see. But usually when we ask for which places you have to go, easily the people come to a conclusion that we can go to Goa or we can go to Kashmir. So they are only choosing two options. That is what we called as black and white fallacy. Okay, only taking two options. Okay, only taking two options even though there exists a lot of options there. This is what we call as false dilemma or false dichotomy or black and white fallacy or bifurcation fallacy. Next is slipper slope fallacy. This is asked in the question paper. In the first question they have asked like this. Okay, so this is one of the important area. Usually the UG Senate is too much interested to ask the questions. They will give some examples and you want to write whether which kind of fallacy it belongs. Okay, so it is logical. You have to think about it, then only you can answer such kind of questions. So first, what you have to do is that you have to study all the fallacies. Then you have to choose the right fallacy from this the example which is right proper for your example. You have to find the fallacy. Okay, slipper slope fallacy. What is slipper slope fallacy? Starting point goes through small steps to improbable extreme. That is, you are starting with something and ending with some other thing. Okay, there is no connection between these two. So starting from somewhere, we usually see that some people start fighting from a normal small point and it is extended and extended, it reaches somewhere else without reaching the correct point. Okay. Some debates also we can see like that. It start with some point and it goes to some extreme other sides. It's like that slipper slope in slope fallacy means it will start with a point and it moves out from the right point. For example, if you don't go to school, you will fail exam. Okay, this much it's okay. If you don't go to school, you will fail exam. You don't get job, you die to get food. So see the extreme side it's going out. So like that kind of thing, what we call as slipper slope fallacy. So it's starting with the not going for a school and reaching where you die to get food. So it is an extreme side. So like that fallacy is what we call as slipper slope fallacy. Next is circular argumentum. Okay, it's a Latin word. Petitio principi. What is called circular argumentum? That is, it is circular. It's clear that it's circular like. We can see what is circular argumentum. Argument repeat about already assumed initial. No new conclusion. That is, you say that this is true. Why you are saying it is true? There is no reason for it. You say because I am saying it, so it's true. Like that. No new conclusion. That is, argument repeat about already assumed initial. For example, if somebody says that Bible is true, Bible is true. So somebody have asked why the Bible is true, because the Bible says it's true. He cannot give a right explanation to it. He come to the same point from where he started. Understood? According to my brain is reliable. According to my brain means you are saying you are right and you are saying it without giving any reasons. Okay. So there is no explanation for it. Without having any explanation, you yourself says that that is right. This is what we call circular argumentum. That is, you start from a point and you reach the same point even though there is a mistake in it. Understood? That is called circular argumentum. Next is hasty generalization fallacy. Hasty generalization, hasty means in a speed way. You reach a conclusion. That is hasty generalization. Without sufficient evidence, believe it. That is when you hear something without getting any evidence, you are come to a conclusion that whether it is right or wrong. That is illicit assumption. Illicit assumption, stereotyping. You heard about stereotyping. For example, we heard that the stepmother or stepfather, it is very cruel. That is stereotyping. Without knowing whether that person is good or wrong, we come to a conclusion that if it is stepmother, then it's very cruel. Okay, like that. A conclusion will come without knowing the real truth. That is what we call history generalization. Overstated exaggeration. We exaggerate the things more here. For example, immigrants spoil our culture. We know that a lot of immigrants are reaching different countries due to some kind of war or some kind of civil problems and all. But it does not spoil the culture of that country. Okay, and they are always refugees there. So it's a general conclusion is that immigrants spoils our culture, and like that youngsters destroy the government things. Whether they are also constructing the government things, they are constructing the country. So we cannot full way we cannot say that the youngsters are destroying the government things. So it's a hasty generalization. Understood? Like that things is what we call as hasty generalization. That is without come to a right or proper or true evidence, we come to a conclusion that this is what right. Okay. Next is red herring or ignoratio alici. Okay, that is feel relevant but not relevant to the situation. We feel as though it is relevant. Okay, we feel, oh, it's good, or it's bad. Like then you feel some kind of relevance to that situation, but it is not relevant. For example, there are starving children in Africa. Eat your carrot. See, one child is not eating at home. So the mother is telling to the child, you have to eat this carrot because the children in Africa is dying due to starving. So there is no connection between these two. Suddenly we feel that, yes, it's right because they are starving there and you are getting enough food and you are, why you are not eating the food? You feel like that, but there is no connection there. Children in Africa is starving is due to some other problem. Okay, might be we have to find the reasons behind it. But here, that is not the reason for the child not eating the carrot. So you are connecting this what we have to say that not relevant things. Okay, relevant things are joined together for our purpose. That is what we call as red herring or ignoratio elegy. Next is to quo quo and you too. That is to quo quo means Latin. You too. You have done it, then why don't I can do that? That is the question. Appeal to hypocrisy. You know that most of the people are hypocritic. That is, we can find fault in other which is done by him and self-explain it. If somebody is smoking, okay, why are you smoking? If the person who is a smoker, then the person who is smoking, he will return his answer by saying, asking a question. You are smoking, then why shouldn't I? That's a question. Does not solve the problem, divert from it. And this kind of people, they don't want to solve the problem. They divert the problem to some others. Okay, they are doing the mistakes, but they say that others are also doing, so I should also do it, or I will do it like that. Dad, you smoke. Then how can you scold me for smoking? That is a question. So when the dad scolded a child, the child said back to the dad that you are smoking. Then how can you scold me? So you quo means you are doing it. Then why shouldn't I? That is a question. So it's a kind of fallacy. Okay, this is a type of fallacy we have to study. Next is casual fallacy, non causa pro causa. That is another fallacy. False cause without evidence conclude about a cause. For example, one a child is named as Harvest. Okay, one child is named as Harvest. So they come to a conclusion that their parents might be might be farmers. Since your parents named you Harvest, they must be farmers. They don't know whether their parents are farmers or not, but they come to a conclusion. Okay, it's a casual fallacy. They come to a conclusion that the harvest fathers will be farmers. Okay, that is the false cause is the reason for it. That is called casual fallacy. Next is fallacy of sunk cost. Cost here means economies, that is related to economy. It is tough to read, still believe it happens. We know that some people says that I will do that, I will do this. Even though they cannot reach that position, they talk it in an exaggerated way. Okay, expensive that cannot be caught. They cannot reach it. Okay, still they say that I will reach the like that. It is not confidence. It is a kind of you say buffoonery way of talking the things. I am a businessman. I beat the Bill Gates next year. We know that it's not so easy thing. Okay, to beat the Bill Gates is it easy thing? No, it's not easy. So it is not a confidence. It's an overconfidence or what we call is a fallacy of sunk cost. That is what we call as have called it. So this is a kind of fallacy. Next is appeal to authority or argumentum adverse antium. That is what is called appeal to authority. That is, when authority is doing, so I will support it. Misuse an authority. For example, accept truth because the admired one likes it. For example, Catherine loves Tom Cruise. You know, Tom Cruise is a famous film star. So, if you love the Tom Cruise, you say that Catherine loves Tom Cruise. Okay, I am very happy about it, or like that, because you love that person, whether that person loud person is doing any wrong, you have no problem for that, understood, like that. Accept the truth because the admired one like it. For example, if some film stars are doing some kind of culprits, you say that he will not do it because he is your fan. Okay, no, he's not your fan, you are the fan of him. So you want to appeal to your authority, that person's authority, because you like that person. If somebody is doing the wrong thing, still you says that he is right, because you appeal to that person. You appeal that person, so you says that that person is not wrong, even though he has done the mistake. That is the thing. Even though he has done the mistake, you are appealing that person. It is called appeal to authority. So here, this is a simple example. Catherine loves Tom Cruise. It's a very normal thing in the case of not of Indians but of foreigners. But when in the case of Indian people, they think that Tom Cruise, even though he's married, he is in love with another person like that. So, but what the fans do is that if you do, oh, Tom Cruise is a good person because I am his fan. Like that equivocation, you see, equivocation, what is that? Different meaning for a word had different meaning, so you are using it to appeal for yourself, for mislead the people. You can mislead the people. For example, you are fired from a job. Okay, okay, fired from a job means they have asked you to quit the job. So it's like a punishment, or it can be some other reasons behind it. But what the man says is that I have taken a retirement. Okay, they use early retirement. I have taken an early retirement. So very cleverly he's covering the mistakes of him. Okay, that is what we call equivocation. Okay, covering it's in a very beautiful way. That is what we called as equivocation. It's a different meaning for a word is using here in the kinds of fallacy. Next is appeal to pity. Argumentum ad misericordiam. This is asked in the previous question paper. So what does it mean appeal to pity? That is compassion or emotion to evoke sensitivity. By hearing something, you have to feel sensitivity towards such kind of things. I've said by pointing out unfortunate consequences that befalls them. That is unexpected things are falling to some person's life, and he is or she is suffering of it. So you asking some kind of pity towards that person. For example, this I have given a simple example. How can you eat that innocent potato? So you know potato is for eating, and I am giving a word the innocent potato. That is, you feel as though you are eating the potato which is living. Okay, it's a living thing, and you are eating it in as such. So you have a feeling like that for the potatoes. So like that, appealing for the pity is what we call as it's a kind of fallacy. So all these are different kinds of fallacies we can see in the logical reasoning. Next is bandwagon fallacy. Band is a group considered true because other people agree with it. That is another point. You have seen that all in a classroom, if a teacher talk about a thing, a group of people agree to it, then others also will agree to it. That is bandwagon fallacy. Others agree, so I also agree. That is everyone is doing, so I do it. So you might have heard about the students saying that that boy is joined for the tuition, so I am also going to join the tuition because everybody is doing, so I am also doing. Like that's bandwagon fallacy, means a group is doing, so a tendency to do that. This is what we call bandwagon fallacy. So I think you are clear about the different kinds of fallacies. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the comment box. I will clear it to you. Okay, there are different fallacies, and they will ask a lot of questions in it. We have studied the formal as well as informal fallacies and different types of fallacies. The Latin Latin words you have to study. Okay, I have given it in the in the cards. I have given it's Latin words and German words or French words, whatever it is. It's given the, so you have to study it. Okay, don't forget to subscribe the channel, and we can meet in the next class. You have to study each and every fallacies properly. Then only you can answer the questions in a right way. They will ask questions surely from this area. Okay, study well. Goodbye.